Welcome back to the YouTube channel, you guys. Today I have a special guest and I'm super excited. Hopefully we'll have more of these videos in the future. So if you like what you see, comment, give us some good vibes so that way we know to keep making these. But I have my great friend Emily here today. She's a super successful online coach, has done some crazy things. And not only just from her age, but just who she is as a person. We've had a couple conversations and I can already tell you this is a special conversation that you want to tap in for and watch the whole thing. We're going to be going over everything from how we got started, why we're crazy people who wanted to do online coaching, why, how we've been successful, some things that we've gone through, ups and downs, sideways. So I hope you guys get value out of this. Without further ado, Emily, you could just give us a beginning of just like who you are, like a little, elevator pitch, I guess, of how you got started, and then we'll go deeper into your background and everything. But
Definitely, Arias. Thank you so much for having me on as well. Like, just from our couple conversations, I already know we're gonna be friends, and I love everything you're putting out. Yeah, so I guess high level overview. I'm 22, gonna turn 23 here next month. I got into the online business world actually when I turned 18. I started my first business, which was network marketing, selling water machines, and I didn't actually make a sale for like a whole year, but during that time I feel like I was really surrounding myself with the right people, learning mindset, learning how to have the entrepreneurial mindset instead of working for someone else, right? And then I joined a coaching program, and in 30 days I landed a client, quit my job, became their head coach, and then started in like learning all the skills in running a profitable online agency. And so I literally helped coaches, business owners with running ads, with setting up funnels, and learning all of like the back end systems, all the nitty gritties in marketing, all while being in college for marketing, which by the way, I didn't learn much from. And
that's
then
crazy.
yeah, I graduated. I decided that I wanted to help my clients get way better results. And I found that when I was coaching for the program I was in, people would get better results rather than me just doing everything for them. So instead of me having a marketing agency, I switched to more of like a done with you coaching offer. And
Mhm.
so I've been doing that for the past year. It's been amazing. We have around 45 people in our Slack, and it's growing every day. So, yeah.
That's awesome. You know, guys, I'm always talking about how God works in weird ways, and I can't make this up. I mean, I'm learning this as you guys are as well. We have almost an identical start, which I didn't know if you knew this, but yeah, I started in multi-level marketing myself,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
sold smoothies, right? I sold proteins. I was an Herbalifer. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but
Ooh.
I was a health coach for 6 years, and it was the similar thing. I started when I was 22, so you've already got me by 4 years ahead of time, right? You're ahead of the game starting at 18. But I started then, and I walked in. I started because I don't know how you started multi-level marketing. I'd be interested to know because I walked into a smoothie shop, and a 24-year-old was there who was saying, I make 6 grand a month and this is my store. And I just got back from Cabo. And I
Wow.
was like, what? Sign me. I was probably the easiest sale to join the multi-level marketing in the planet. Like I was like, I think I had $500 in my bank account at the time. And he sold me on a $250 weight loss program plus $100 to be a distributor. And I was like, stroke the check. And then I remember saying, I have to eat this stuff because I don't have any more money. So shoot, this is gonna have to work. So it's cool, but similar to you, where that was my um first time getting around a higher level individual, somebody who, I came from a place where nobody really made a lot of money. And that was the first time I met people who were making 10, 20, $30,000 a month. And it was like absolutely blowing my mind that that was possible. Did you have a similar situation for
That's
you?
wild.
Yo, I hope you guys are enjoying the awesome interview with Emily. If you guys want to join and learn the diamond method for a absolutely ridiculous 50% off founders special, you can look at the first link below. All right, don't want to For
That's
interrupt. Let's
you.
get back.
Wild. No, I feel like we're so similar in that way because me as well. I've been following this girl on Instagram. She was like talking about her 20K a month. I was like, how is that even possible? 20K a month.
Yes.
And then for a whole year, I saved up because I thought that the thing was 10 grand. So as soon as I hit 10 grand, I called her up. I was like, I'm ready, let's go. We hopped on the call. She's like, it's 5K. I was like, oh, let's go. Okay, I'll have
Wow.
money for food.
Let's go. That's amazing. And that is great. That's awesome too, because uh that I had a similar situation with our boy Jeremy, but where I start was watching his YouTube. This is now years later, and I'm like, I think his first video I saw of Jeremy, he was like, I make $117,000 a month or something. I was like, this kid is lying. Get out of here. No way. Right. And didn't totally blew it off. Didn't even think about it. But I think I think it was a couple months later, a different coach came up on my YouTube feed and explained the difference between high ticket and low ticket. And for some reason, this guy's YouTube, 10-minute whiteboard video, I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense because I had been in multi-level marketing for 6 years. We got to the top 10% of our company. We were up. I mean, I went on vacations. I opened a brick and mortar through them. Uh,
Oh,
we did the thing, but it was just draining and not aligned with who I really wanted to be, similar to how you're feeling with the agency, where I was doing all the things I'm coaching on now and getting these people amazing results as far as their health. But what I realized is the thing that was moving the needle was not the smoothies or protein replacement shakes I was selling. It was the mindset that we were giving these people and the ability to expose them and what I liked actually doing about it. So this leads me to my question, like,
mhm.
what inspired you really? So it was just to make that full switch and become a coach for yourself instead of being the agency. Was it just from seeing the
Mm,
results, or what was
yeah.
the big thing that made you want to take a jump?
I love that question because it's like the truthful, vulnerable, honest answer. I was at a plant medicine ceremony.
That's awesome.
I don't do anymore.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it was like on
Nice
some
way to say that.
I was I was on some mushrooms and literally I couldn't break past the thought like I have to guarantee this and this and this. How am I going to like make sure these
Mm,
people get results? Because I had been doing cold email. And so with cold email, it's like you're sending thousands of emails and you're telling people like I'm going to do a performance basis. And so I'm having like 10 sales calls a week and I'm hopping on and I'm burnt out because I'm also going to college.
mm,
And at that medicine ceremony, I knew something had to change. So I hired a spiritual coach. And after being a coach for the past few years for this program, like I knew I could coach. I knew I could do it. Um, and after that, I decided after hiring this coach, like this is when I'm gonna go all in and do my own coaching program. So I invested into another coaching program, not Jeremy's,
sure.
similar one. Changed the whole module, changed the whole model, built out the course, and yeah, I love it so much more than the agency model. Not only do clients get better results, but I feel like the client relationship is just a lot different as well.
Absolutely. And you're crushing it. So I've seen the group, and I know we talked a bit before this video about how you're having your best month right now, but they're busiest month and a lot of momentum right now. Um, what I guess I'm trying to think. I think it's awesome to see because a lot of times you and me get on sales calls all the time and is investing, right? And there's been now we're barely into your story, really. And I think you've now invested in three people, right? And into the story, which is critical to say because I think so many people that I talk to, I don't know about you, but sometimes they hear things like $150 little course or ebook or a ticket to something, and they're like, that's too much money, right? Like that's crazy for all this. And then you have the flip side of the token where you have people like you and me who have invested tens of thousands of dollars. And if the right ad and the right person presented the right offer to me, I'd probably invest in another one, right? Like if it made sense because I've received nothing but return every single time I've made an investment in myself, and I think it's a success indicator when people are willing to kind of have that leap of faith. And one thing I think is important was that I almost got off topic, but I got back to it, was that this girl you were following for a year, you thought it was $10,000
Yeah.
and literally decided to work extra hard to save money up to be able to afford this thing. Now,
Yeah.
for me, I did the same thing when I saw Jay's, videos, and he was dropping his price like a mofo back then. And I was like, there's no way I can afford $8,000, right? Like, I'm like, this is crazy. So I
Yeah.
did the same thing where instead of allowing kind of the initial wall of this price to keep me out of this opportunity, I just thought to myself, how can I become resourceful and
Mm.
literally change the way I make money so that way I can afford it? Walk me
Yeah.
through what you thought and kind of the idea to action on how you even got that $10,000 saved, because I think there's probably some sauce in there for what you were thinking of right then.
Mm. Well, I want to say, like, I 100% agree that the people who decide to like save up, get resourceful, take risks on themselves are typically the clients I see who make moves the fastest because it's like they have a higher pain tolerance for taking risk.
Yes.
And I was reading $100 Million Leads. Alex Hormozy was talking about how he went literally into like 100K in debt on a credit card. And like he was chilling about it. Well, I don't know if he was chilling about it, but that's how
Right.
he came off. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, if he can go $100,000 in debt, and I'm worried about spending $10,000 on ads and going into debt, but I know I'm going to make that money back, but he had no clue. I'm like, I should just be shifting my mindset to a higher level
Mhm.
person because that's really like small fish investing. In the beginning, yeah, you're going to have like these opportunities where it's maybe 500 or 2,000, and yeah, those are great things to invest into. But yeah, I mean, high ticket, I feel like is where when you have that pain, you pay attention.
Mm.
And that's why like paying in full, I think is the best way to do it if you can. I mean, what did I do? I just worked my 9 to 5. Like I just worked my little booty off. And I was yeah, I was in high school, so I was just
That's
yeah.
okay, but this is the thing. I know you're saying maybe I'm gonna give you some grace here because maybe you may have grown up maybe around some more responsible people than I grew around, because I can tell you right now, being in high school, just working a 9 to 5, but then saving
Yeah.
$10,000
Yeah.
instead of putting that in I'm sure there was lots of opportunities
Yeah.
where you could have spent
Yeah.
that money on much, non-ROI things like you could have went to concerts, could have done anything. I know when I was 18, listen, if somebody had gave 18-year-old Arias $10,000, it would have been gone in 2 months, 100% on Taco Bell,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, okay, that's actually I'm glad that you went there because this thought came to mind. Growing up, if I can be like super transparent,
Yes.
I didn't have rules. And so as a child, I craved structure and rules. Anytime I went to one of my friends' house and their parents were like, "You have to drink this milk at your table." I was like, "Yes, please." Like give me some structure here. So as soon as my parents like helped me and they opened up a checking account, I was just so like specific with everything, like all the budgeting. And
That's
I
awesome.
also at that time was doing running start, so I was doing college classes in high school, and I had my little car. I was working like crazy at Qdoba, and yeah, I mean, literally just saving, saving, saving. Never, anytime I was like, ooh, I should go get a coffee before I go to school. I was like, no, we're investing. And so that was just in the back of my mind to always remind me as I was saving up.
That's incredible. It's in We can go deep. I think I'm about to have to throw away all my questions because they're just so good, the things that we're
This
talking
is
about.
getting
Because
juicy. We're going in the
yeah,
deep end.
no, and it's important though, because like you me, I grew up the exact opposite, right? So where we always talk about how people have, your own sets of positive things and sometimes negative things, whereas like you out of the lack of structure, wanted it and craved it, right? So me, I'm the exact opposite. I hate it. And on the like it gets into my deep soul when it comes to structure. But I've realized this is because as a kid, I like to talk and I like to be naturally hyper. And so I would want to didn't have the ability to be who I wanted to be.
Mm.
So therefore that came from structure. Anytime there was structure, I had to follow
Yeah.
rules that I don't like to do. So it made this trigger for me to hate it. But in reality, right, that you need it. Yeah, I can't get away from it, just and we've learned to kind of put that in there. So it is cool though that you've been able to transition that, and I think it's still important that you were working at Qdoba, which is a normal job. I know again you have built the rules, but I really think I know a lot of people watching my channel specifically need to hear this. You don't have to have a six-figure paying job to put money away to ultimately create a 6 to 7 figure business for yourself through investing your personal time. You can go flip burritos at Qdoba for big backs like myself, and and still be able to follow structure and rules and have enough money to ultimately invest. And what you said about not getting coffee, and I think that's a perfect example of living in the end, which is something I'm always teaching about and something that I believe God was trying to teach us through the Bible. And that Neville Goddard, I don't know if you've ever heard of his readings, but I'm like a professional Neville quoter. But he
Yeah.
this is what he talks about. You were doing that, right? Because
Mm.
what 18-year-olds driving around was like, I got, at one point in time, right? You got $6,000 in your bank account, 4,000 off the roll. And that $8 coffee, I can tell you, 18-year-old me, I'm going to the store. But you were able to live in the end and ultimately produce where you're at now.
Yeah.
Even back then, you were starting to put the stepping stones. So
Yeah.
um, let me ask you this. As you started to, because I think I just saw your post and we were kind of talking about this earlier about paying in full and taking those leaps of faith.
Mm.
Has there been times where you took a leap of faith and it was a long time before it appeared like that was a good idea to other, right? Like, for example, you took
Yeah.
the leap and you were like, when you took the leap, you're like, this could go bad this way. And the bad thing did indeed happen. And walk me through a time like that and then what you were thinking, how you kind of got through that.
So the question is, was there a moment where I invested in myself, but it didn't actually come into fruition?
No, just as quick as you thought it would. And so what did you do during the
Mm.
time period where you were waiting for it to
Yeah.
be?
This is
Yes.
this is juicy.
Yes.
There literally every single day as I was growing this business, I mean, I had to look at my vision and remind myself of where I was headed because if I looked around at my current environment, I would have gotten discouraged. I
Mm,
was living in like a 600 square foot apartment. I was literally going to the food bank in college. My life was the exact opposite of what my vision board had looked like and what I wanted. But when I sat in it and I looked at it, like I knew that I could get there. So I wouldn't say that, I mean, there's definitely thoughts in my mind that have come up along the way, like, why is this not as fast? Or am I really like capable of this? Is this going to
mm.
happen? But I'm not like every single time that I've ever needed money or anything like that, because I haven't had a 9 to 5 since I quit, um,
Right.
money's come in. So I think that because I had that evidence, I've just always had faith that no matter what I invest into or whatever I work on will work out as long as I obviously do the action, listen to the coach and what they say, and I think lastly and most importantly, have faith in myself.
Mm. Amen. And it's crazy because you, like you said, in reflection, you always have been taken care of and you haven't had to get another job since you quit. But I know what it's like. So I'm gonna peel the lid back. I do this all the time on my channel. No one that is posting on the internet is probably as successful all the time as you think they are. Like now, what I mean is, I don't think they're lying at all. I think that people have a misconception on what success means actually, and the
Yeah.
total price of some of these things you're seeing on the internet, right? And some people don't understand that, you know, I talk to coaches and people all the time who are doing like 6K a month, for example. Okay. $6,000 of profit in 30 days. Okay. Well, when you talk to a 19-year-old crypto millionaire, right? He's a broke boy, right? Nobody, and then they feel bad genuinely and they harbor and hold that belief. But if you go talk to the average person who's working 50 hours a week at Qdoba, right? $6,000 is 2,000 more than they'll make, missing every moment from their family, having to wear, a work shirt. I thought about this, how long it's been since I've
Mhm.
had to look for my work shirt. Like, oh God, like, man, I forgot what it's like. Have to ask off for time, have to, ultimately have all of your decisions and put faith in a different business owner for them to follow the right steps so that your job has security forever. You're just putting faith into another person, right? And
Yeah.
so I think being able to pivot from that and have that ultimate vision the whole time is really powerful and incredible. And I know when you're looking at those vision boards, and especially when you read people like Neville or listen to people like me who tell you, ignore the reality that's going on in front of you, sometimes that comes off as like I don't know what the right word is, but like invalidating of people's
Mm.
real situations. But
Yeah.
I think you and me can speak for a fact that the only way we got out of those dark situations is by almost invalidating reality is
Yeah.
being like, no, I
Yeah.
choose to believe this is what's gonna happen.
The Lulu is the Salulu.
Oh man, I gotta write that down. Look, I'm not. I'm. They call me Unc Arias now. That's what I've self-proclaimed. I gotta write these new ones down. But,
There he is.
uh,
That's good.
that's awesome. So when you are having people coming into, and I don't know how I missed this. I just was so interested. We got into such a good conversation right away. But for everybody who doesn't know, what is it that you do? I'll just let you say it for your own self. And
Yeah.
what is your offer? Who do you serve, and how do you help them?
Yep. So I help coaches, consultants, business owners, marketers who are doing around like 3 to 8K a month, scale to 20K a month using the GC method, which is basically running ads that direct eyeballs to your Instagram and setting up systems so that we can turn those eyeballs into clients. I work with my business partner, Gerald, and he helps our clients with everything from turning those eyeballs into the clients using emotional sales mastery. And we
That's
also have, which has been like our vision, what we're building towards, is really making it into kind of like an agency style. So
Mm,
we're having a team in-house for our editors, setters, and closers. So when a client comes in, like the editing is taken care of, and their funnel is designed, and then the setter can come in, who is the person booking calls. So really, they can just get back to what they love doing, which is like coaching, creating content, taking sales calls.
that's awesome. This is awesome. And I love how you guys are going with the as you're moving to looking to build it with that, having those in-house team. That is a
Yeah.
truly, it's cool to see it evolve. And we talked briefly about how I'm doing this like similar thing. But if you guys want to know more, her school link will be linked in the description below. Totally free group to join. They're providing massive value in there. Your boy's gonna be doing a little guest workshop here in a couple weeks too, so you should get in
Let's
before
go.
then, so that
It's
way
gonna
you
be
can
good.
see me there, right? It'll be awesome. But what's cool is when you're helping these coaches, what do you see as a common, we shared one earlier, a success denominator is what I like to call them. Some of the, like, if you could do like three, maybe if you can come up with them, I know it's hard to come off the top of the head, but success denominators that you see in some of your most successful clients. And then on the
Yeah.
flip side of that, three things that you think are
Mm.
like the opposite. Like what are three things that are
Yeah.
usually a good denominator or a sign that people are not headed in the right direction? Everybody can change, but sometimes people are, we can kind of tell they're going the wrong way about things. So if you
Yeah.
could give me three both ways, I know one, we'll just let you do it. If you got to repeat the one, it's fine. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that anyone that's watching this right now, if you're looking at successful people in this space, just know that you're 100% capable of creating that for yourself. I was just like a broke girl in college. I just had a dream. I didn't know if I could be successful, and I'm definitely not anywhere close to where I want to be. And same thing for all of my clients. Like we all start somewhere. And so I think getting started, number one, is like I said, having that belief in yourself and like having a goal that you're working for and really anchoring in on what that vision is, outlining it, detailing it, and experiencing it. And then, I mean, work ethic is just really important. I noticed that with clients. I think everyone is capable of having a hard work ethic, but there are certain beliefs that stop people from
Mm,
executing on certain things, whether that's like creating content or sitting in their DMs. And yeah, work ethic is definitely number two. Number three, I would say is like everyone can be a great coach, but sales. Like
mm,
having the understanding of how to get on a call and confidently present what you are selling and sit in the part of the call where things can get hard, people can get nervous, and you remain calm throughout it. I feel like that's definitely a common denominator with clients. So these are all like super tangible skills that you can create for yourself over time. But when a student comes in and they already, have that belief in themselves, they have that work ethic, and they're willing to train and listen to us as coaches, it's like boom, like they're
mm.
in. And then I would say as far as the things that stop people or the like common denominators from clients who maybe take a little bit longer to see results is the paralysis, whether that's in perfection, overthinking, am I doing the right things? Is this good enough? Am I good enough? Am I worthy of this? There's a lot of different beliefs that I think can come up, which would I love that you, Arias, are tackling this and helping people with these beliefs because it really is, it does stem from that. And was there two other
Well,
denominators to
no,
cover for that?
I really think because one, we could reverse, the opposite of the three success would be the if you have
Right,
the
right, right.
opposite, right? We could do it that way. And I think what you said is super important. Um,
Ooh, can I share
Go
one
ahead.
more?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, on the opposite of not having a vision, when you aren't surrounded by people who don't think big, who don't have the lifestyle that you want, who are living off of other people's terms, and you start to like surround yourself with them, you become more like them. For example, like when I was in Bali, everyone there is building a business and they are just grinding away, and it opened my eyes to the possibilities of what I can do. And when I came back, I was like, there's something that unlocked in my mind because I
Mm,
realized that if they can do it, I can do it too, right? So it's having the ability to dream bigger and know that hey, if you're making 20K a month like some of our clients, they sometimes are like, is 50K a month even achievable for me? But then once they see it and then they know that it is possible because other coaches are doing it too, then that unlocks something in their mind and they can go after it just as hard as they went after it the first 20K month.
absolutely. I mean, spot on. I teach something called the four laws of leadership and of
Ooh,
self
okay.
leadership. And one of those laws is the law of exposure, right? And like
Yeah.
there it's impossible. It is literally impossible. It's like the Neo Morpheus meme. Like you can't take the red pill. I hate that word, but
Yeah.
you can't take the red pill and really go backwards, right? You know,
Mhm.
for me, again, it stems all the way back to multi-level marketing. The first time that you meet somebody, and I think there's a difference between seeing it online and actually conversating and meeting, I shouldn't say conversating, it's not a real word, but actually meeting somebody or getting a chance to experience, even on a call, just the actual level of personal development that a high achieving entrepreneur has. It does something to you. And
Yeah, it
in
does.
October, I hosted my first client retreat in Tennessee. We went to the Smoky Mountains, and Jeremy actually did a guest call for us there. And I asked him, you know, and for those ones, Jeremy's been around. He was at a table at a mastermind with 9 other people who all were doing $100 million or plus in info space, which is crazy to think about. And I said, what is the main takeaway you got
Mm,
from being around such ultra successful people? And he said,
yeah.
the level of personal development is tangible with these people, right? Like when
Mm,
you talk to somebody who's super successful, there is a unconscious feeling that happens within yourself that you're like pulled to think bigger
yeah.
without or you, like by force almost like,
Yeah.
you know, just speaking to somebody, you're like, oh my god, like your ideas, it forces you to think so much bigger. And then what I think is the magic and truly God's way of trying to help his children listen is when those moments happen and your heart is filled with inspiration, you are going to get whispered an idea
Mm,
that is oftentimes crazy. If you are thinking in the laws and sense of man and thinking of what makes sense, like you're talking about these coaches who get to 20K a month, you know, at the beginning, that seems unreal. But when you get to 20K and you see how much work it took you to get to 20K and what you had to do, then you start to think, like you're saying, 50K. And if I'm thinking in the laws of man, well, that means I have to do double plus some of what I'm doing now. That's impossible. When in reality, right, you don't have to work more to make more. I think this Myron Golden blew my mind on this when he said, people who make 100 times more than you don't work 100 times harder than you. And that one
yeah.
thing let me let go of that belief that I have to work harder, that I have to be something more than I'm not in order to attract kind of that dream lifestyle that we're talking about. And I think by
Mm,
forcing yourself around people, just like you're saying, you have no choice but to, you know, continue to level up. A couple months ago, I was
yeah.
stuck in my online business and I looked through our summit scale wins and I was feeling a little stuck and I was feeling in my own head, right? And I looked through the wins and I just read all of them for like, I scrolled for like an hour. I just kept reading them, reading them, reading them, reading them. And I thought to myself, it is illogical that all of these people can win and I can't also be on this list. Doesn't
Amen.
make sense. Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense at all. And
Yeah.
I think it's really powerful when people take that into consideration. So
Yeah.
we've gave you guys a lot of value here. I hope you guys can, you know, find the nuggets in this conversation. I want to maybe leave them what's something with like a final takeaway that if you could say to anybody, if you had one chance to speak to them, what would you want them to know and remember forever?
Well, I want to say that as you are on this journey of entrepreneurship, developing yourself, getting yourself around other big dreamers, that if you ever feel like this anxiousness or you feel like worry or you feel like, you can't do it, I felt that way too, and it's totally normal. I would say once I really surrendered, like truly put down my finances. I put down my physical health. I put down my relationships. And I said, God, like you can have your way. I don't I don't want to do my way. You have your way. Um that is when everything changed. I leaned into surrendering to the whispers like you said that God is telling me and moving from a place of how can I serve other people. I feel like the anxiety just like lifted off of my shoulders. And there's this one verse from the Bible that I love so much. It's Philippians 4, 6 or 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So, as you go on this journey, if you feel that anxiousness, your depression, or these beliefs, just know that you can give it up to God. You can surrender it, and He will be there guiding you throughout this journey. And yeah, I'm just rooting for you.
Wow. Unbelievable, you guys. I mean, I'm over here getting hype. I have to write that verse down because that, again, there's no such thing as coincidences. God always works on time. So, even me hearing that quote is just different level because it's true. The moment I let go and stopped believing that there's any other reality other than the one that I was given and that I want to create, I'm telling you what, magic happens. So,
Amen.
again, you guys, if you guys want to know more from us, we're gonna have Emily's school linked in the below. I have all my other links below. Again, I think there'll be an interrupter that got you guys already at this point. We are hosting another retreat in June. Stay
Let's
tuned for
go.
that. It's going to be super sick in a crazy different place. And I hope to see you guys so you can get that law of exposure. You can get around some beast entrepreneurs like Emily and myself and be able to reset and lock back into that higher self. So thank you guys for watching. Peace, love, and prosperity. And I'll see you on the next one.
Much love.